All right, guys, huge news this week. Bumble is officially letting men make the first move. I know, revolutionary. The dating world has never seen such a thing. The women are about to be oppressed. The patriarchy is back in action. Thank you so much, Bumble. Now, this is just, for Bumble, it is the latest in a long line of failed rebrands and failed updates, just trying to keep up with the competition and restore profits to their very slowly sinking ship. But this won't work because they don't actually solve the root issue that young people are facing with dating today. But they are finding new ways to make it happen, so we're going to talk about it. Before we dive into this story, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you've not already, and of course, if you want to stay up to date on everything we're uploading here on the channel, make sure to ring that notification bell. All right, now some of you guys might remember this, but back in April of 2024, this was actually when, I was in LA for something because I remember recording these videos at the cool LA Airbnb where we were staying, but April 2024, there was a lot happening with the dating app Bumble. They were trying to revamp and keep their hold in the marketplace, but all they ended up doing was pissing off women, aka their main demographic. Now, I did almost 2 back-to-back comment section videos on this subject, but since I can no longer point you to those videos, allow me to give you a recap about what happened, which I think will explain why they've just done what they did this weekend and what it says about modern dating. All right, so again, April of 2024, Bumble tried to make this big marketing splash by wiping their entire Instagram clean and announcing that they were revolutionizing dating. It had a really cool aesthetic. It was basically all about how we're so exhausted with dating. Everybody is tired of it. They were using like Renaissance paintings of women just being so exhausted and tired and they don't want the men. All of the things. People got really excited. They were like, oh my gosh, is Bumble actually going to do something crazy? Are they going to, flip the script on men and dating apps and all the things? And some people were excited until they actually saw what the update was. Drum roll, please. The update. What was going to revolutionize dating? What was worth wiping their entire Instagram, changing their entire advertising strategy, was giving women prompts to use so that when they would match with a man, instead of them having to come up with something clever, maybe something pertinent to the man's profile, why they swiped on them, Bumble would give them opening lines that they could choose from. They would click that, send it off to the man, and then it would be on the man to come up with something clever to respond. And then after that, they could confirm the match and continue the conversation. So what was revolutionizing dating was just an opening line. They did this because women, lo and behold, did not actually want to message first. For the last few years, they've been saying, actually, we don't really care about this anymore. I actually think over 80% of women were saying that they wanted men to approach them. They wanted men to ask them out, which of course was not helpful to men because at the same time, women on TikTok were saying, like, we would choose to meet a bear in the forest instead of you. We're choosing the bear over the man. We hate you. You are oppressive. All of the things, but also please, would you ask us out first? So obviously it's very confusing to men. It was confusing to Bumble, I'm sure, because they were seeing both sides. And so they came up with this idea to hopefully meet in the middle. Women are still feeling like they were, shooting their shot, approaching a man first, but they didn't actually have to do any of the heavy lifting, and it just put the heavy lifting to be creative on the man. So it actually was not helping anyone whatsoever. And again, they did this because they saw the tides turning. Even 2 years ago, women were saying that they were tired of it, and hence Bumble tried to have a solve. You can see the headline here. Bumble relaunches app with a new tool to relieve the burden of women making the first move, which is just so ironic. I mean, you think about the history of civilization, what it has been built upon, which was men making the first move, men courting women, all of the things, and women have to have a semblance of that responsibility on one particular app for, 10 years? And suddenly it is a burden that they must be relieved from. I mean, it is just so nauseatingly dramatic. Anyway, so obviously this lame excuse of an update did not address the problem back in the spring of 2024, and therefore it did not make Bumble any more popular, which brings us next to their cancellation. Again, I said that I did 2 back-to-back episodes on them that April, and that is because basically just a few days after that failed app launch, they released a new marketing campaign that was targeting those exhausted women. And basically they were saying, don't become celibate, don't give up, don't become a nun. And you can see this right here. You know full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer. Here's another one. Thou shalt not give up on dating and become a nun. So TLDR, the strategy they were employing was trying to reach the women who were swearing off dating, swearing off the dating apps and saying, no, there is another option. You don't have to be celibate. You don't have to go run away to the convent and become a nun. Come to Bumble because we have the solution for you. We are revolutionizing dating. with our amazing prompts that we created just for you. And women hated that. Number one, they hated it because they did not like the app update and Bumble was not revolutionizing dating whatsoever. But people were so enraged that Bumble was actually forced to take down the billboards, and they gave that space to like a domestic abuse organization, the space that they had already bought on the billboards. They deleted their original advertising campaign film. You literally cannot find it anywhere unless you're going back and watching videos from 2024 when people were reacting to it. It has been wiped across all platforms. And they did this because women were so furious that Bumble would essentially attack their choices to remove themselves from dating, to get off the apps and try to bring them back to their sinking ship of an app without actually trying to fix the root cause of dating. Some posts at the time, some comments. One person said, "This is so revolting beyond words. Delete Bumble and never use it." Another person said, "Everyone deleting Bumble for coming after celibacy instead of actually addressing the concerns none of us are dating wasn't something I had on my 2024 bingo card." Another person said, "Celibacy is hurting Bumble's pockets." And this is the thing that we always come back to. This is the main issue with dating apps. All of this marketing updates, the opening lines and the prompts that they're giving to women, the rebrands, the don't do celibacy, don't become a nun. It was not designed with the intention to help you fall in love, find your husband, find your Prince Charming, and then delete the app. It doesn't matter if Hinge has the tagline, "the app that is designed to be deleted." That actually is not the intent. What they want is to have you on their app using it so that they can increase shareholder value. They need you swiping in order to keep their business afloat. Singledom is what keeps them growing. And of course, I am sure that all of these apps were created with good intention. Like, who would not want to use social media and these devices that now we are carrying around in our pockets that we are never without to hopefully find love? It was innovative at the time. And I'm sure that there are so many people out there who have had success stories, but the business model is such that objectively, they need people on the app holding out hope that maybe the next swipe has the one that they just need to pay for the next platform, get the premium star status so they can see the people behind the paywall because that might be the guy or the girl. They are desperately needing you to trust them, which is why they dangle the carrot just enough out of reach so that you keep coming back. And what I hear from so many people, what I read in comment sections, when I meet you guys in person, and we're talking about modern dating and all of the things, is that most people are on apps begrudgingly. Because it's like, what is the other option? You feel like it's probably hopeless and nothing's gonna come of it, but it feels irresponsible not to be on the apps because what else can you do even if you know that they are a game designed to hook you? So nobody is excited about this, and people were angry that Bumble was lying to their audience, saying that they were revolutionizing dating, that they were actually fixing the problem when they were doing no such thing. Now, something super interesting that I totally missed 2 years ago when I was originally covering the story is that behind the scenes, amidst all of these rebrands and software updates, Bumble has actually been getting hit left and right with discrimination lawsuits because of their women making the first move policy all the way back to 2018, so only 4 years after they launched. So in 2018, a male plaintiff filed a class action lawsuit against Bumble, arguing that the app's rule preventing heterosexual men from initiating conversations with women discriminated against men under California's Unruh Civil Rights Act. Bumble disclosed the lawsuit in its SEC filings. The parties later reached a settlement in 2020. Then in 2023, Bumble received more than 20,000 pre-arbitration arbitration demands alleging that the Women Message First feature violated that same act. Bumble said that it mediated the claims and made settlement offers to the individual claimants. Nearly all of those demands were subsequently withdrawn and dismissed. And then my personal favorite from 2024, I feel like this is really where things shifted. This was actually right after the failed rebrand. Another major lawsuit in 2024. A class action lawsuit was filed in April of 2024 alleging that Bumble's Women First messaging system violated that same Civil Rights Act. And the plaintiffs argued that Bumble treated users differently based on sex and sexual orientation. But interestingly, this particular lawsuit was brought on by 2 heterosexual women, not men. Their argument was essentially that Bumble's rule also discriminated against women because heterosexual women were required to make the first move with men, while women matching with other women weren't subject to the same restriction. That case was voluntarily dismissed and then refiled later that year in August against Bumble and the founder. And Bumble's 2025 SEC filing says that the claims against Bumble arising after August of 2022 remained pending at that point. So the picture that I'm trying to paint here is that initially these complaints, going all the way back to 2018, they were from from men and men's rights activist groups, but more recently, and this is what's so interesting to me, is that it was coming from women. That women so desperately don't want to have to make the first move that they were willing to sue Bumble, get dismissed, and then refile again, suing Bumble and the founder and claim discrimination. Now, my solution to all of this is very simple. Women, if you want to talk to a man, just talk to him about Good Rancher steak. That is the way to a man's heart. Now, if there's one thing that my husband and I love, it is food. Meals are everything in our house, but with our crazy schedules, getting a good dinner on the table every night can often feel stressful, but Good Ranchers makes it so much easier. Good Ranchers bridges the gap between American families and local family farms all around the country by delivering 100% American meat right to your door. We eat their steaks almost every single day for lunch. Alex and I both had one earlier, and in the evenings, they make weeknight dinners so easy with their chicken and their fillets and their fish, and it is all so simple because it ships directly to our door and it is sitting in my freezer ready to be made. From grass-fed beef to pasture-raised chicken, every box makes meal prep effortless while supporting hardworking American farmers, which to me is the most important part. So if you are ready to taste the difference yourself, head on over to goodranchers.com to get American meat delivered. For a limited time, you guys can get $50 off your first Good Ranchers order. That means that you can literally build your own box starting as low as $129. Just visit goodranchers.com/Brett to get $50 off anything on their site. Again, that is goodranchers.com/Brett. Now, you can also get double the free meat with every order on top of that $50 off when you start a subscription plan today. Just go to goodranchers.com/Brett and switch to American meat delivered. Now, guys, if you have not shot suppressed yet, I need you to fix that because it is a game changer. I'm not exaggerating when I say that using a suppressor completely changes the shooting experience. It makes it easier to control. There's less snappy recoil. Honestly, it just makes shooting so much more of an enjoyable experience, especially if you are a new shooter. I always thought as suppressors, this is kind of like crazy tactical thing, and then I came to realize that it just makes it so much safer and better. And the process of getting a suppressor is so easy with Silencer Shop. You don't have to figure it out on your own. They walk you through everything. All you do is pick out your suppressor online, create your profile, sign a digital form, and they help handle the rest. Plus, the government $200 tax stamp is gone, which means more money back in your pocket. And truly, suppressors are not crazy pieces of tactical gear. They are safety equipment. The noise and recoil is often what makes shooting intimidating to folks, not the gun. So take that away, and it is a completely different experience, especially as you are starting out. Silencer Shop also doesn't just carry suppressors either. Firearms, optics, accessories, everything for your entire setup. We get everything in one place with Silencer Shop. Alex just got a new shotgun. Almost all of our guns now come from Silencer Shop. You will love buying from them. They are just such an incredible company to support. Just head on over to silencershop.com/Cooper to get shopping and for a better, more comfortable shooting experience. All right, now back to the story. Now that we've gone over all of that context and painted the full picture, now we can talk about their most recent update, because I think we can ask, were they finally listening to the women, the 80% of women who said, actually, we don't want to have to make the first move, or were they just tired of getting sued for discrimination? I think maybe it was a little bit of both. Anyway, so the current viral story that broke over the weekend is that Bumble announced that they would now allow men to also make the first move. Oh my gosh, revolutionizing dating once again. Here we go. And it's literally the most average thing of the century. So this is from The Atlantic. Bumble hands the first move back to men. For most online daters, it won't make a difference, reads the subtitle. And the author is right. It will not make any difference because now the app is just like every single other conventional app. The women making the first move feature has not been any kind of leg up since maybe 2016 when it was in vogue, but there at least was some sort of differentiating factor for the app in the marketplace. But now they are just a yellow version of Tinder and Hinge. I think that they actually might be owned by the same parent company. So you're essentially just getting the same exact thing. And just like how offering women opening lines and prompts in 2024 didn't help, this also will not solve the actual problem that people are facing with modern dating. Now, one writer responded to the news. She summed it up well, saying, "I am in the business of hearing dating troubles. I can confirm that it does not depend on who makes the first move and how perfect that text message is. You can shoot all you want, share the most quirky stories of your life. There is also a great possibility that you will come off exactly as politically correct for that person. But then it is a tennis match. Not as simple as pre-internet monogamy. Even if you are the god of texting, you can't make it fun just by yourself. Most players complain that the serve was bad. Hi. Sometimes just a dot to beat the 24-hour deadline on Bumble." So what she is saying there, just in case you guys are not acquainted with Bumble, is that after you match with somebody, you have 24 hours to respond. Actually, now I think that they have upped it to 72 hours, but people could not come up with things to say. They didn't really care enough, and so sometimes they would literally just send a period so that they could just make it past the 24 hours so that later on, maybe they could come up with something to say to the random person that they saw when they were swiping at 3 a.m. But I think that the most valuable parts of that blurb that I just read are, number one, it does not matter how perfect the text message is. It really doesn't matter who is texting first on a dating app. And that number two, it is a game. I think that she summed it up well. Dating is a tennis match, but apps like Bumble have turned it into this butchered version of Wii Tennis, where you don't know your opponent. Maybe you're even talking to a bot. You don't really have to try because you're just serving while you're sitting alone on your couch in your pajamas eating a bag of freaking chips. And if you don't like what's happening in your Wii Tennis match, you can easily pull up your phone, download an app, and play a different version of virtual tennis on any other platform without having to get up, try, or move a single muscle. The stakes are non-existent. Why would you try? Why would you care when that's the landscape? And so that's why it's so offensive to people on the apps when these dating apps are like, we're revolutionizing it. We're going to help you. Don't tune out. We're here to support you. And it's like, no, you're not. You're profiting off of my loneliness and I don't have to try. And now I've been conditioned to think that I don't need to try in dating and the entire system is screwed. So screw you. That's how people feel, which is why Gen Z largely has been getting off the apps or simply staying on begrudgingly and why they're trying other things. And I've talked a lot about Gen Z opting out of dating and what we can do about it and what the solve is. But the more I think about it and the more that I talk to you guys about it, I am starting to see it in a different light because based on what I'm seeing and what I'm reading, I think that a lot of Gen Z might just be taking a different approach and just trying to take the pressure off. You know, they're not going out of their way to go to bars and try to mingle and find somebody and ask somebody out that same night. They are getting off the apps. They're tired of spending their time swiping and DMing, whatever it is, but they are socializing in other ways and prioritizing building community. That does feel like the word of 2026 based on everything that I'm seeing online. People, it's a good thing. People want community. And I think that's why we have seen, for example, run clubs explode over the last few years. People are finding friends, community, exercise. It becomes a space where you are acquainted with the same people. There is less social pressure. So then if you connect with somebody, it is easier to ask them out. Once you are already friendly and connected, it makes it easier for the men, thank God, so they don't feel as at risk of getting exposed or being seen as creepy or weird, whatever. And I think this is probably why when the running app Strava surveyed all of its users last year, they found that 1 in 5 people in a run club have gone on a date with somebody from that club. Another great example of this community building is actually something that my friend Kate started called Pizza to Pews, which you guys might have seen on social media. It began as just a pre-young adult mass pizza social in New York City at her own parish, but it has exploded to where now they have literally hundreds and hundreds of young people. I am talking 300 to 500 people coming to connect and socialize at this pizza place every single Sunday before they go to mass. Now they're opening chapters all around the country. They just opened their first one in Florida. People are flocking to these events because they are so desperate to find friends, build community around shared interests like their faith. And these Pizza to Pews events, they are not dating events. The goal is not to go there and meet your husband or wife. It's just socializing. But the pressure is off. It is low stakes. It's in person. It provides the opportunity for connection, which is so desired after so many years of empty swiping and DMing and stupid prompting from Bumble. Matchmakers are also taking off around the country, especially AI ones that will weed through bots and the incompatible profiles and only show you people who might be a match. That's making things easier. So TLDR, there are so many changes that are being made. So now, to wrap it all up, going back to Bumble's original fumble in 2024, Bumble, in a sense, was right. They did read the room. That people were opting out, that people were exhausted, that they were choosing celibacy, whatever it was, but they were a little too arrogant in thinking that they could solve it by just doing a slick marketing campaign and updating part of their policies and procedures and their offerings for their app users. Because the solution is not more endless swiping. It is not another paid tier that will unlock the great matches for you. I'm talking to stupid Tinder with all of their paid things. It is not a greater dilution of the dating experience. It is simply lowering pressure and making the stakes more meaningful in real life. Marketing rebrands and software and feature updates will not do that.